Welcome to Hypno Wellness, the podcast where we explore the many ways that hypnosis can help improve your health and wellness. This week, I've decided to do a Get to Know Me episode, since I've had so many new listeners. As you know, my name is Cindy, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist and a retired dental hygienist. I have a husband of 27 years, and he works as a postmaster. I have 3 grown children, a girl and 2 boys, ages 28, 23, and 21. I also have 2 grandsons, 1 and 7 months. However, he was about 3 months early, so we had to do the whole NICU thing, and he is now a healthy and happy little man. So let's get started with how I ended up with this podcast. I started in hygiene about 26 years ago and mainly worked with low income and Medicaid. The last 4 years that I practiced hygiene were some of the hardest I ever worked. It actually drove me to not want to go back to hygiene. While some of it was the best times I ever had, it was also some of the worst times I've ever had. And I'll probably touch on that a little bit later, maybe not in this podcast, but maybe in another one eventually. When my father passed away about 9 years ago, my mother was already showing signs of dementia. Eventually, she got to the point where we moved her in with us. That is not an easy thing to do, and after almost a year, we had to place her in a nursing home. I felt really bad about it, and that's because when my father was passing away, he told me not to put her in a home. However, mentally for me and my family, I had to make that choice, and it was even my doctor that said, you have to do something because you're going to mentally make yourself sick and physically. It was hard, but I found a place about 20 minutes from my house. She's been there for about 3 years now, and it's the best decision we've made for ourselves and her. In fact, I've come to love the employees that work there, and they are very special to me because they care for my mother. I know Victoria might not be listening to this podcast, but shout out to you for having the patience. You are a saint. My mother was now in a comfortable setting and having 24-hour care. I had to decide if I wanted to go back into hygiene again or do something different. While my mom was with us, I fulfilled a dream of mine to write a book. I wrote 3 short stories for Amazon, and one of them became a bestseller for a short period of time. Now, if anyone knows anything about writing for Kindle, it's that you have to grind it to make any money. So you have to keep writing, and I just didn't have it in me to keep up with the pace. And with my mother, it was really hard. So once she was in the home, I decided to go back to work in dental, but not hygiene. I found an amazing endodontist to work for and did that for about 2 years. I think I learned more from him than I did at any place or even in school that I'd ever worked, and found out the difference between good work and bad work. He was so fun to work for, and it was a really nice place. When COVID hit, however, we closed the office that was the closest to me, and we began working in the main office, which was about an hour away. Everyone else lived on the other side of the bridge, so that made sense. Now, I loved that job and continue to work 2 times a week for a year or so. If someone were out, I even went in all 4 days. Being nice to me equals me being nice back, and he was generous. I hated to leave, but the back and forth was a lot, and with gas prices and groceries going up, it made no financial sense to stay, and I did not want to go back into hygiene at all. So what does any of this have to do with hypnosis? Well, let's go back. I've always been intrigued by it, even back in middle and high school. The power of the mind was fun to read about and think about. When I became a hygienist, I would often wonder why no one would hypnotize scared patients. I've had my fair share of whiners, most of them not even kids, and that was just to even get their teeth cleaned. I read everything about hypnosis, but not one person in my area does it, so I just kind of let it go. Until the COVID lockdown, I decided to take a course on hypnosis, and eventually that led me to getting certified. But I didn't do anything with it. I did, however, start a YouTube channel, but not the one that I have now. Now, this YouTube channel was a review channel. I would watch TV shows because what else do we have to do during the lockdown, and I would talk about them. I even had people message me saying that they watched me for my voice. I got that a lot. People would even add me to their sleep playlist. When we went back to work, it got a little harder to keep watching TV shows, and you have to keep watching and binging on them. Some of the reviewers are watching the shows and immediately making a video, and this is like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like Kindle again, hard to keep up. I decided that it wasn't for me anymore, but I loved making YouTube videos. I loved editing. I loved creating a thumbnail. It was fun to me. Being creative is important to me. I thought about it and began a subliminal channel, as they've been helpful with me for my anxiety, just like hypnosis has. This, however, wasn't what I thought it was, and in the subliminal community, there are some very dark and shady things that go on. There are kids out there thinking that they can change their body parts to fit what they want. Subliminals for me is a mindset thing, but not an I want blue eyes to, be brown or to be, 6 feet tall when you're 5'2". None of that made any sense to me, so I got out because there's just a lot of children in that. I really didn't know what I wanted to do until someone asked me if I made hypnosis videos. Well, I went back, dusted off my certificate, took another course, and here we are. I made a podcast out of it. I love the wellness space, but I wanted it to fit in with the wellness that I like, not those that tell you not to see a doctor. If a person in the wellness space is telling you that they can get blood samples or do whatever, and they're not a doctor, they're not a MD doctor, and they're telling you that they can fix you, just red flags. Please see an actual doctor. I think hypnosis works if you're seeing an actual doctor, because this is a tool that works, that can help you with everything. If you're working with a doctor, hypnosis wellness is about getting you on track with a healthy you. I try to focus on topics that can help me become a better person, and in turn, that help me to feel better about myself. If there are any topics that you would like me to discuss, please let me know. I'm so glad to be in this space and to use my abilities to help you. So that's it for my get to know you. Overall, I'm pretty boring. When I'm not podcasting, I'm writing scripts, talking to my brother, visiting my mom, and being a wife, a mom, a grandmother, to which I go by Bunny. I love anime and sci-fi. I love Reddit. My subreddit that I love is called What Is This Bug? Or What's This Bug? I've learned so much about bugs. And I also forgot talking to my biggest fan, my friend who won't be named, or she might get me. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night. Thanks for listening to this episode of Hypno Wellness. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the Hypno Wellness podcast and leave us a review. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and YouTube.